Hello again, this is Joshua from Motival. Today we're going to do a new series of how to use your Ti84 Silver Edition calculator. For today it's going to be fractions and decimals. Okay, so it's going to be mathematically simple. I just want to give you an insight of how to use your graphing calculator to be able to find the values of these fractions. And if you have a fraction and you want to convert it into decimal or vice versa. Okay, so for example, 5 divided by 2. Well, 5 divided by 2, if I plug in my calculator, I press the 5 button, the division sign, and the 2. And I press enter to get 2.5. So 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Okay. Now, if I want to go back from decimal to fraction, imagine that I don't know that 2.5 is 5 over 2. So you go 2.5. You're going to go to math, this math button. Notice that the first one has an arrow and says frac. Okay, frac from fraction. So if you press that and you press it again, enter, you get the fraction. Okay, so that's how you go from a decimal to a fraction. Okay, now imagine you have 4 over 2 plus 3 over 2 equals. It already has a common denominator at 7 over 2. Okay, now as far as the calculator goes, in order to do these fractions, you must use parentheses in the calculator, because if you don't, the calculator won't understand what is being divided. Okay, so let me give you an example without the parentheses. So 4 divided by 2, oops, divided by 2 plus 3 divided by 2. 3.5, which is correct. Notice that in this case, the parentheses wasn't needed. Okay. Now again, if you want 3.5 in fractions, you go to math, press the first one, fraction, it gives you 7 over 2. Okay. Now in some cases, the parentheses will be needed. Now let's look at this example. A fraction divided by a number. So 2/3 divided by 4. 2/3 divided by 4. If I were to solve this mathematically, then I have to make 4 into a fraction by dividing by 1. And then we multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator, which is 1 over 4, which gives you 2 over 12, which can simplify into 1/6. Okay, give me 1 second. Come on, boo. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, so 1/6. Now, what happens in the calculator if I write 2/3 divided by 4 without parentheses? So imagine that I want to write 2/3 divided by 4. So 2 divided by 3 divided by 4. You get that, which I want to know what the fraction is. 1/6. Okay. Now imagine now that I want to find 2 divided by 3/4. Notice that the numbers are the same, but now it's 2 divided by a fraction. Mathematically, this is 2 over 1 divided by 3 over 4, which again we multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator, which is 4 over 3, which gives you 8 over 3. So notice they're not the same value. And if I try to plug that into the calculator again without parentheses, 2 divided by 3 divided by 4, I keep getting 0.166, which is 1/6. So how can I get 8/3? Here is where the parentheses are needed. So this is how you're going to write it in the calculator in order for the calculator to understand what you're looking for. So you take 2 divided by, now you write your parentheses, 3 divided by 4. And then you close the parentheses. Okay, so notice that the parentheses tells me that that 2 is a number and that the 3/4 is the fraction. So notice how it was different now. You have 2.6666, which if we press the option, you get 8/3. So notice how by writing the parentheses, it gave me a different value. And this is a very, very common mistake in people using the calculator incorrectly. I've had multiple students that understand the mathematical concept, but once they plug it in the calculator, they get the wrong answer. Okay, so be very careful in how you do that. Let's go ahead and do 4/3 times 2/6 without without parentheses. Mathematically, you know that multiplication of fraction is you multiply numerator with numerator and denominator with denominator. So 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 6 is 18. And we can simplify that. Let me have some room here. 8 divided by 18. If we divide 8 by 2, we get 4. If we divide 18 by 2, you get 9. So 4 9s. Now imagine I want to do that in the calculator, but I don't write parentheses. So 4 divided by 3 times 2 divided by 6. That's 0.444. And if I press the frac button, I get 4 9s. So it seems like this particular calculator understands that when I multiply this, I have to get 4 9s. Okay? Now imagine instead that I had this fraction, 4/3 times 2 times 1/6. If I want this one, for example, this mathematically again is still 4 times 1 4, 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 times 6 is 36, which is a different fraction, right? If I try to put this in the calculator, 4 divided by 3 times 2 times 1 divided by 6, I still get 4/9, which is not the same thing. Okay, clearly it's not. So this is a case where you do need to use parentheses. Okay, so this is how you're gonna do it. You're gonna have, you either write this fraction into the parentheses. So parentheses 4 divided by 3 times 2, close the parentheses, times, open a new parentheses, 1 divided by 6. Oops, I guess it gives me the same thing. That means that this parentheses must not be outside but inside the 3 times 2. So let's do that. So again, I'm going to write the same thing, 4 divided by, I'm going to open a new parenthesis, so 3 times 2, close, and then close again, because I have two parentheses, and then times 1 divided by 6. And there you have it. 0.1111, which if I change it into a fraction becomes 1/9, which is the same thing as 4/36 simplified, right? Because if I divide 4 by 4, you get 1. 36 by 4 is 9. Okay? So notice how even though I inserted parentheses in the first time, it still gave me 4/9. So not necessarily it's just putting in parentheses. It's where to locate those parentheses that makes the difference. Okay? So the calculator now understands that the parentheses that I need is the ones for the 3 times 2. Okay? So that's very important. Now, a very similar example is when we find the slope, right? You have the slope equals 3 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 5. So if you do this mathematically, you get 3 minus 4, which is -1, and 2 minus 5, which is -3, which gives you +1/3. So let's see if without the parentheses, it will give me 1/3. So 3 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 5. -4. How did I get -4 when I want 1/3? Well, notice that without the parentheses, this is what the calculator is doing. So it says 3 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 5. If you divide 4 with 2, you get 2. And you get 3 minus 2 is +1. Minus 5 is -4. So there you have it. That's what happened when you didn't write the parentheses when you were looking for the slope. So when you're mixing operations, addition and multiplication, or addition and division, or subtraction and division, you must use parentheses in the calculator in order to get the correct answer. So for example, I'm going to do the slope again, but this time I'm going to write the parentheses. So parentheses 3 minus 4 parentheses divided by, and here you must use another parentheses. Look what happens if I forget the second parentheses. 2 minus 5. -5.5. That doesn't make sense. I need 4/9. Is that the same thing? Clearly not. What happened? This is what the calculator understood when you forgot your second pair of parentheses. So 3 minus 4 divided by 2 minus 5. 3 minus 4 is -1. -1/2. -1/2 is -0.5. And minus 5 is -5.5. So there you have it. That's where that -5.5 came from. So again, let's try this time with all the parentheses needed. So 3 minus 4 divided by parentheses 2 minus 5. And there it is. Our 1/3. Okay. So this video covers how to find fractions or decimals in a Ti84 Silver Edition. If you like the video, please subscribe to Multival. Share the video with others that are taking math classes and are having trouble with their calculators. I will bring more videos about calculators soon. Share any comments if you like. If you need any specific problems in the calculator that you need to address, I'm gonna try to get up to calculus, AP calculus material. So hoping you enjoy it. Have a wonderful day.